Okay, this video is going to be for the VW Beetle, and it's going to be placement of optional rear speakers. If you have a Monsoon or a regular stereo and a Beetle, there are some limitations to the types of speakers you can put in the bottom corner of the front wall. Andy has a fantastic, not only talking about the limitations of the speakers, but the types and measurements that will clear all of the interior trim pieces. Take it away, Andy.
So we'll start with the placement. What we have is this is your front bed wall. Easy reference is the Smith. This is the side that goes towards the bed, towards the rear of the car. So this is going to be the back wall of the cab. All right, so that was just trying to get us oriented on what we're looking at. So now what we need to do is figure out where I can cut a hole to put a speaker that's not going to A, show in the bed, B, conflict with the step side that's actually going to be behind this section. So this is just my little measurement technique. It's fairly simple to help you find a spot that is not conflicted. Your front bed wall comes with pierces for where you're going to drill out to bolt in the bed sides that will be going down in this perspective. So the first step is to get this reference line right across those bolt holes. Now the trick is that's actually going to be the bed wall, and we have a flange that we need to worry about. The flange is about 3/4 of an inch. I allow 1 inch just to make sure I have plenty of clearance. So I get me a reference point 1 inch towards the side of the car. And this is actually the line that I'm going to use. So now we have our left to right placement that we're clearing. We're not putting a screw into the bed that will be visible from behind the car. Now we need to get our vertical placement. Using a square, I just happen to have this one. It could be a sheet of paper. Here, look at this. We could use this. To clear the step side, we need to come down 2 inches from this pierce that already exists in your bed wall. So we'll get us a little reference mark there. And all I'm doing is using something that's pretty close to square to get me a reference line, to get us a reference line across here. So now I know my area that I'm clear to cut a speaker hole. So in this case, we're using a 4x6. This is the template that came with the speakers. This is a Monsoon car, so this has to be a 2 ohm speaker. All I do is place this template tangent at the top, right? Because this way is the top and that's the center. So I have a point here and here, and I trace my speaker hole profile provided with the speaker. It is amazing how slightly different same size speakers can be from different manufacturers. So I advocate using the one for your speakers. This particular speaker comes with a extra little flange for mounting, so you could use that. Different ways to go. If you are using a different speaker, you want to use something bigger. Hey, I want a little more thump. I want something bigger. You have some other issues to work out. We'll get to in a sec. But the key when you're drawing your template is don't come above that, or you're going to be running into the back of the step side. So that point is critical here, and that point is critical. Because if you drill to that side, you're going into the bed where it'll be visible from outside the car, and above this, you're going to have conflict with the step side. And by the way, again, this dimension was 2 inches below that center pierce. So in the event that you want to go with a different speaker, the point is to use your template for that tangent and that tangent to get those 2 points.
Excellent.
Okay, so just because we're here, this is a rough cut B-pillar cover that when you get to that point in your car, this is actually going to be sitting right about here in the car. So the reason that I really like these 4x6s, and Mark and I have had a ton of discussion about different speaker options, the beauty of that is you have no conflict with this B-pillar cover when you go to put it in. If you are going to go with a 5 1/4, so here's a speaker cover from a 5 1/4 speaker, you run into this conflict. So of course, you had to go tangent to those two lines for your speaker hole. Now when you go to mount this, you have this conflict. Not a big deal. You can trim either the speaker cover or the B-pillar cover. But I personally, and Mark and I have discussed this is just such a clean install. It's so easy. And the size of the cab, a 4x6 speaker, is plenty of volume, punch, whatever the right term is.
150, 200 watts with the Monsoon, especially. You've got a small little area.
Yeah.
Your ears will be bleeding one way or the other, right? So.
These little 4x6s, and these are the 2-ohm ones again. It's 120 watt capable, and so 200 watts out of the amp, 4 ways.
You're way
50 amps a
way
piece.
good.
So
Perfect.
it works out really well. So that works out pretty cleanly. You can use different speaker covers if you want. If you don't like that particular one, no big deal. But while we're here, having the brain trust, we have another really cool little piece. So that wraps up the speaker placement. All right, but while we're talking about this B-pillar cover, when you trim this, so this is the rough cut. You're going to end up cutting this further in.
Give you the full. This is what it used to look like in the car. You've seen that. That comes off. This we're going to get rid of. But wait.
But wait, there's more. You actually need about 2 inches here. So once it's at the final cut, you end up with this little divot. Yeah, it's kind of unsightly. So how can we fill that and make it look cool? Carl, why don't you describe
go ahead,
that?
Carl.
We have pieces that we're going to throw away anyway. We want to match the grain and the color of the interior of the car and fill that gap. So what do we make that from? We make it from obtainium, and we get it from this piece that we're going to throw away anyway. We cut this piece out. We give it to Andy. He loves it, and he puts it right
Beautiful.
in the
Boom.
spot that it has to go.
2
Right
dots of
texture,
adhesive,
right color.
matches.
And you're
All
trimming this off anyway to fit against the wall. So this line here is a rough cut, right? So we're going to cut here. And this whole finished thing goes up against the black carpet on the rear wall. Fantastic.
All free.
If you don't, that's too much black for me. Oh, I really like that gray leather. I wish it was red all the way down.
And cut it right out of
You
here.
have plenty of other options that are very similar.
Right.
You could cut it out of this red plastic so that the color matches. You could cut it out of this kind of, I'm not sure if that's actually leather or vinyl.
Pleather.
But you could cut that same dimension right here, peel that out, glue that on. Tons of options, whatever you want to do.
Oh yeah.
Anything you need to add?
I think that's about it. The detail, the difference is between a car that's perfect, that people just go crazy, and you've seen this with your Mark V Jetta and your Charger. The difference between the cars that are just cha-ching is nothing. It's all right in front of you. So making a car, I mean, I've been guilty of making a car that I just got together. I didn't even put the carpet on the back, and I took off driving because I wanted to drive. It doesn't take. Most of us building these Beetles for our families, whatever, you have time. It's all winter, it's a project, whatever. It's pretty easy to do a top-notch job, even as a rookie. And
Take all the
These
pieces
guys
that
know
you
what they're
took apart and throw them in a big pile in the corner of the garage, and don't throw them away till you're done, because all these free things can be used.
so radio, interior trim, it's your car. You can do it how you want. We're here to just give you ideas. But remember, Monsoon 2-ohm speakers, regular non-Monsoon 4-ohm speakers, and Stata 4x6. You know, the smaller speakers will pay dividends. If you need the bigger ones, like Andy said, you're gonna be trimming into this thing and hogging it out a little bit. You can do it, but we want to give you that information before you start cutting.
Make it easy on yourself. We engineered all
For
the
God's
sizes.
sakes, man.
It works. It sounds great. Why waste the time? You already wasted hours figuring this out.
There you go. So from Tiverton, Rhode Island, that's our stereo tip for the day.